talking with Justin Kelly. So congrats on making a very accomplished and, dare I say, spunky movie.
Amazing.
Very spunky, very fun movie. So what made you want to do this one?
I read JT's book Sarah when it first came out in 2001.
Yeah.
And like everyone else, loved it.
Huh.
But when I started to see photos of JT in Vanity Fair, Interview Magazine, just the whole messy blonde wig, hat, hidden face, Warholian vibe, I found myself much more drawn to him as a character than the actual writing. And with rumors circling as to whether or not he did or did not exist, added to the allure, and of course, as Laura Dern knew because she was so smart, added to the popularity of this character. And it almost became less about whether or not he was real and more so about like why that would even be a part of the conversation, which made everyone even love him more.
Right.
So, and then I also lived in San Francisco kind of during the rise and fall of his popularity. So when the news broke in early 2006 that he indeed didn't exist, I was just in complete shock. And it wasn't because I truly believed he was real. It was more so like, how could that possibly have happened? He was technically alive, quote unquote, for 10 years with Laura. And
how could this be?
It's insane. But then from a kind of like storyteller and filmmaker perspective, it more so became, well, then why? Like, why would they do this?
Yeah.
And everyone really wrote them off, meaning Savannah, who played JT in public, and Laura wrote the books, wrote them off as two women who wanted fame and money. It was that simple. And I thought there's just got to be more to it. And so when I read Savannah's memoir, I kind of got the juicy backstory. I felt like, well, this is a much bigger story than just the books.
Yeah. So we got to talk about the actresses. Oh my God, Kristen Stewart, Laura Dern, Diane Kruger, so many good roles. But
complete dream.
Yeah, tell me about working with them because I love these are some of my favorite actresses. But it's not like to me it really works. But yeah, just tell me what it was like to work with those three ladies.
Well, it's definitely it's not the kind of film that anyone is going to take on for money. I love this script, love these characters,
right.
And I think with each role, there's such a great chance to explore so many different facets of a character. With Laura Dern's character, obviously, literally layers because she's playing three different characters. Laura as herself, Laura is JT, Laura is Speedy. So the characters, they're so fun, they're so rich, so dynamic. I think I always assumed that it would be alluring roles for actors, but you never really know. But they each read the script, really responded, really latched on, and then I was super lucky to be able to have them attached and actually make the movie with them.
And Kristen Stewart, oh my God,
yeah,
such a big I was wondering, sort of a technical question: how does as actors, how do their acting processes work? How do they differ?
Well, getting a little bit back to the first question, in terms of working with, they were all an insane dream to work with. And not just saying that to be polite.
Yeah.
Just such hardworking, dedicated actors who. I think the most exciting thing is being on set and watching actors deliver lines that I've been writing over the past 8 years with my co-writer Savannah. 8 years? 8 years.
Wow. Okay.
And to realize that they understood the characters more than I did on set was one of the most thrilling things. Like that's how deep they got into knowing these characters. So it was really exciting. And then process-wise, it's a little bit hard to say how they would differ. I mean, I feel like I'm not big into elaborate rehearsals, and most actors I've ever worked with are not either.
Really?
It's more so about, like we read through the script together, not read through as an acted out. We read it through, talk about every single scene, every single piece of dialogue, what it means. And then it's a collaborative process. And for me, a script is just a blueprint. So it's about kind of like letting each actor change what they want to change, discuss it with me. Then on set you try things out, and because of where a certain location is, maybe something that we always saw as, like, for example, the kind of Paris hotel room fight, I always saw that as a very, like, frantic, pacing back and forth scene. And we got in there and rehearsed it once with Kristen in the chair and Laura on the bed with, like, the kind of bedpost that almost felt like a little jail cell. And we ran it through it, and we all kind of thought, oh, this is it. Like, we don't need to move around. Like, even though it's sort of a fight, in quote, scene, it felt more intense and more dramatic. They just stayed in these spots and like that they wouldn't leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, they're all very collaborative, bring so much to the role. I don't know if I could say what differs, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, because you're not in their head. You don't know like how they're processing it. But fair enough. I was like wondering that like some you hear method, you hear whatever more laissez-faire. But one interesting takeaway from that is how collaborative you are in working with your actresses and letting working on it for 8 years. Some people would no, you don't change just a comma or anything.
Oh no,
but you're not like that. That's so cool.
It's way more fun that way. It makes for a better movie. There's there's no need to stick to anything exact in the script. It's only going to hold you back. But also, be working with such accomplished actresses as Laura, Kristen, and Diane. They know what they're doing. So there's going to be certain moments where maybe there's a suggestion that I didn't think would work. We would try it once, and I feel like 9 out of 10 times it would work because they know what they're doing.
That's really cool.
I do too, but I've made 4 films. They've made 50. So
Twin Peaks. You got Inglourious Basterds. You got Personal Shopper. All these experiences, amazing films. But it really works in this one. I was wondering, what does identity fragmentation mean to you because it's kind of that's the story, right? Like the separation in Laura's mind between the writer, JT Leroy, is a character she makes up, but she writes it, but she can put it in Kristen Stewart's body, or can she? Mm-hmm. I mean, it to me how psychologically we get split up is a really interesting topic, and I've seen it happen to a lot of people. But what does it mean to you?
Well, it's something I've dealt with in every film, and I didn't plan it that way, but I guess I have a thing I like to talk about. Maybe I Am Michael is about that. King Cobra's about that. Welcome to Stranger a little bit. All these characters who sort of either want to be perceived as someone else or try and live an experience of someone else. And I think it's just even though I pick the more extreme versions of that, like in I Am Michael, a gay activist who becomes an anti-gay pastor, and JT, 2 women literally pretending to be someone else. Instead of the kind of softer version of say movie where someone's playing with their identity, like switching jobs or innocent kid becoming a gangster. I picked the more extreme ones because I think I just like the scandalous, salacious, bigger stories. But I like them because I think it's a very relatable thing. And we all, I think everyone has some dream of being someone else. You know what I mean? And it takes a very brave person and or crazy person to literally go there. But the idea of kind of playing with identity and perception in this extreme way, where you're trying to change your life, is so fascinating.
And
I keep finding them.
I can see how an actor would get into it because they're playing other people for months at a time. How can they relate to a character like that?
Exactly. Being the fictional character obviously kind of changed and shaped who they are as themselves, and that's so interesting.
So, what's your favorite book by JT Leroy? What should people check out?
Definitely Sarah, the first one.
So that's the most, because that's the one they talk about in the movie. But is there another one that stands out?
Well, there's only 3 official books.
Right.
Heart is Deceitful is short stories, and those were actually written first.
Oh, okay.
They kind of published based on the success of Sarah, and then Harold's End is very short. Sarah is really it's that really unique style that got JT the success that it's so weird to talk about him in the third person since he's fake. You know what I mean?
That's cool. Yeah.
I think it's cool to kind of still do that. So Laura Albert's book, Sarah. I think to this day it really holds up. It's a really weird, just the prose, word choice, the way that JT speaks to these kind of characters on the fringe. I think even though the quote-unquote hoax was revealed, it's still a great book to read. In fact, it was republished under Laura's name recently.
Well, I gotta read this book. De Palma has this interesting quote where he says being a director is kind of like watching the egos in the room and kind of the ego check. Because there's so many moving pieces, you have to kind of you're just the ringmaster of the circus, kind of. And I was wondering how you were you intimidated by the stature of these ladies?
Honestly, no. I think I've been even for previous films like working with James Franco, bigger names. I've been super fortunate to work with people who really want to play these roles. Meaning there's no one's coming on set with
drama.
Huge egos. No, and I'm not trying to cover up for any scandalous story. It's
David?
I wish I had one.
No, fair enough.
I would say, from with Kristen, Laura, and Diane, just the phenomenal work that they have put out. When I first met with Kristen, it was before Sils Maria. She had shot Sils Maria, but I hadn't seen it yet. So, of course, I knew her from the fame. But when I saw Sils Maria and Personal Shopper, like with most people,
I love Personal Shopper.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
Personal Shopper is just, the whole movie is her face expressing everything that character is going through. It's so incredible. Yeah. She's so incredible. So a certain level of intimidation for sure. And then for me, growing up with like Blue Velvet and Wild at Heart and Twin Peaks, I've been a Dern fan since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that, but again, like once you meet, have dinner, talk about working together, and then months later you're on set and in prep, and it just starts to kind of like feel oddly normal.
Yeah.
So I would say on set, it's less so intimidation and more so we'll shoot something and then call cut, and then I'll go home, go back to my hotel, and kind of think like, oh my god, I just shot that scene with Kristen Stewart and Laura Dern and Diane Kruger. Like,
humbling.
What am I doing? This is crazy.
Oh.
So I just feel so blessed to be working with them. But again, they're all so collaborative and so respectful. And I don't really experience on-set egos. Like, I'm very lucky for now.
Well, we'll see for the next one. I love Laura Dern in The Return, Twin Peaks: The Return.
Oh yeah,
that was so cool. And then she does Last Jedi, and that was I actually defend that movie a lot. I love that movie, but I'm so glad she did something like this again. Well, so a little bit more idiosyncratic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And between the three, she has so many wigs.
Yeah,
it's like the Laura Dern wigathon. I'm telling you, it's great. Great.
All
Thank
right.
you so much. Appreciate it.